another episode of Late Night Cooking or Baking. In this case, it's baking. I just got done the 8th gig of 9 gigs this week. One more gig tomorrow. We're off. The summer's been great. Thank you for everybody who comes out and supports the band. It means so much to us, and we're glad we can do it. We're blessed. But let me get to this. So I'm making bread pudding this week. Bread pudding was originated in England in the 13th century. You know, the frugal cooks and bakers would get scraps of bread, all kinds of bread. Other places they had sugar, some vanilla, some chocolate in there, sometimes brown sugar on top. And then it was known as the poor man's pudding. And then it was moved around different countries, came to the states here. Louisiana has their own. Every state has their own. It turned into a higher class thing. Now you can get it in 4-star, 5-star restaurants like this one. But anyway, I'm gonna whisk these eggs. Whisk these eggs. A little delirious at this point. This could be boring by now. And this is part of the ingredients. I'll show you the rest in a second. I'm gonna crack this one last second. I like to thank my my prep cooks that do the prep before me, Karen, Sue, and Missy, are the best prep cooks. You know, I have to show them some stuff, the secret recipes and secret things I put in, and they have to swear to it that they won't tell nobody. But my mother made bread pudding all the time. Now it makes sense. Poor man's pudding for 8 kids. So. I'm going to pour the milk in here. Whisk it up a little more. I'm going to let it sit for 15 minutes in the refrigerator. And I'll be back to show you some more. Thank you for watching, if you watch this whole thing. Hello again. I'm back in the kitchen here, and I mixed the eggs and the milk and the cinnamon and the vanilla, allspice, sugar. What else I put in there? I put some raisins, but
vanilla.
Of course, vanilla, yes. And it's going to be a little different from my own recipe, sort of, because a lot of these restaurants carry bourbon, rum, and whiskey bread cakes. If I were to have bourbon, rum, or whiskey, it wouldn't be in the cake. Although I had a few Jameson cakes one time years ago. Yeah, you gotta get used to them, but they work. So there's going to be no alcohol in this cake here. This pudding, sorry. So I got all my ingredients in here right now. I'm going to put it, where do you at? Give me chocolate chips. I'm going to throw a few chocolate chips in there. My mom used to do. Just sporadically. I did wash my hands twice. I'm just going to get them in there, as you can see that. I'll throw a few more in there just for shit. It's been a great summer here. I'm just going to use one hand because one hand, you know, you don't want to get the other hand messed up. This stuff. But, so, like I said, there's a special way we cook this too, and you will see that in a second. I'm going to put it in there. So there it is, the bread pudding. Poor man's pudding. Ready to go. Be back. Okay. Hello. I'm back. And I'm ready to put the mixture in the pan. It's late. It is 3:15 in the morning. Had 2 shows today, one at the Inlet in Wildwood and one in Seattle at the Ore House, which they were both awesome. All kinds of people I haven't seen in a while, and it's unreal. Really, it's overwhelming. I'm blessed, and it's a great summer. And I'm glad it's almost over. We're all glad. But, you know, it happens with this kind of tour to Jersey. Okay, there's my mixture. What I'm going to do is try not to get my hands all gooey too soon. I spread out evenly. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to take about an hour to bake. And, you know, sometimes my mother would put bigger piece of crust in it and stuff, and people like it like that too, like a whole. I did put a hot dog roll in here. I found, you know, it was good. But I put a hot dog roll in there, so maybe I'll get that piece. But as you can see, I'm trying to put it evenly and not make it. And I got a special little ingredients I'm going to put on top when it's halfway done. And it's not bourbon or whiskey or anything like that. Pretty delirious by now. It's all these gigs, and I did just take a puff. But if it wasn't for my prep cooks, I'll tell you, who would be cutting up this bread while I'm at the gig? Me. And I don't do that. That's why I hire these beautiful women at this undisclosed location. This is boring. If you're boring watching this, just say you're bored. But just doing this to pass the time down here. I'm going to watch a TV show after this, City on a Hill, which is pretty good. Third episode on tonight. As you can see, I'm going to pat it down just a little bit to make it even. And now, I'm going to bake it for 56 minutes. Exactly. 56 is good. It's a good number. Okay. I'll see you a little bit when it gets out. Hello. It's 4 o'clock, and we paused the City on a Hill episode halfway through it. I took it out of the oven because I wanted to see where it's at, and the one thing I have to tell you about this bread pudding is when you think of pudding, you think it's mushy and gooey like that. I don't like bread pudding like that. It's just my opinion. Because now the consistency is really tight in this. What I'm going to do is make a couple little grooves and valleys in here. As you see, like that, around, push it down. So, I'll do that. It's already baked for 25 minutes. This is what my mom used to do. See how it looks now? Almost just like you pieces of bread in there. So what I'm going to do is, don't tell anybody the secret. This is a little brown sugar. Can't hurt you. I'm going to slowly give it almost like a coffee cake vibe, but not completely. It's just going to have a little. I myself, I like a little bit more, but you know, brown sugar. Hey, don't worry. Got a gig today, one more at 5 o'clock on Monday afternoon at the Orr House in CLC. Then Philadelphia, here I come. My son is sleeping in the truck. Okay. A little bit. 4:30 in the morning, Monday morning. Getting tired. Watching City on a Hill, put it on pause again. Came back to take it out and look at it. Check the consistency of it and make sure it's doing pretty good. I even taste a little bit. It tastes pretty good. And the chocolate chips have melted in there. And I'm going to let brown a little more. I'm going to put it in for about another 15 to 20 minutes because I like it a little more. Oh, it's hot, dude.
Okay.
5 of 5. Watch City on a Hill. Pretty good episode. Episode 3, season 3. Taking it out. It's done. There's my bread pudding. And I reckon we have this work. See, now what we can do is let it cool here for an hour, which I'll have the prep cooks do. I'll go to bed, and after that, when it cools off, we'll put it in the refrigerator overnight, and tomorrow we can have it cold or hot. I like to put it back in the oven, cut pieces up, put it back in the oven, then you can put, if you want it, you can eat it plain. You could put some kinds of topping on it, whatever you like, strawberry, butterscotch, chocolate, or just plain old butter, or nothing. And there it is. So maybe I'll show you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.